I was gifted this vintage entry table because the roof was leaking on the house and they needed to get rid of the furniture ASAP. If I didn't take it, it was just going to be thrown away. I knew it was worth saving because it's solid wood, but it has this residue of brown paint that needs to be removed. I laid down a plastic sheet from the dollar store and some gloves to protect my hands because the chemical stripper that I'm using is very toxic. I like using this product because it's really effective and the natural strippers just don't seem to get the job done the same. To apply the stripper, I just use a cheap dollar store brush so I could throw it away when I'm done. I let the chemical stripper sit for a little bit too long and it dried up, so it didn't come off very well the first round, so I just went in and applied another layer. The chemical stripper does a good job at removing the varnish on top of the wood so that it cuts down on your sanding time. However, it's not going to remove the stain that's in the wood. The sander will have to do that. Once I finished scraping most of the chemical stripper off, I took some mineral spirits to clean off the gooey residue. This will help to avoid gunking up my sandpaper and wasting money. For sanding large flat surfaces, a random orbital sander always does the job super fast. I started out with 80 grit sandpaper and then I worked my way all the way up to 220 grit until all the stain was removed. To sand these curved edges and cracks, I used my contour sanding block and just attached it to my detail sander. It's a little hack that works great. Before staining raw wood, you always want to sand with the wood grain so that you get the most even finish possible. I mixed about 3 pints water to 1 part tan paint, and then I cut my Maker stain pad to size so that I could apply the wash with it. You can see that when I wet this wood, it turns sort of orange, so this tan wash is just going to neutralize those undertones. If I were to just seal it as is, it would turn out that orange color. I quickly realized I was supposed to use a piece of tape to get the fuzzies off of this pad before using it. I used this water-based stain in the color Early American to add a slightly darker shade to the tabletop. Since this wood was slightly weathered from all the wear and tear, I thought this shade would look nice and rustic. This stain pad was perfect because it's absorbent like foam, but it's soft like a microfiber cloth. I cleaned the base of this dresser with Crud Cutter to remove any grease that won't allow my paint to stick. Then I scuff sanded the entire piece with 220 grit sandpaper just to get that extra adhesion. For the paint color, I chose Melange Apothecary Gray, which I think paired nicely with the wood on top. I chose the mineral line of paint so that I could distress it when I'm done to keep that vintage charm the piece originally had. I sealed the paint with hemp oil to get a nice soft velvety finish. I sealed the top with a water-based polyacrylic so it's extra durable for heavy items that might be sat on top of it. The great thing about the water-based product is that it won't yellow over time. As a reminder, here's where we started on this piece, and here's the finished result. The paint wash and stain was exactly what I had in mind. And this old brownish red paint is now a neutral gray that would look great in anybody's home. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the follow button for more furniture makeovers.